Thanks so much for spending time with us this week. We hope you're feeling more connected to the cosmic energies in your life. Welcome to Rainbow Soulstrology, a weekly podcast presented by Brighthawk and Hollis Taylor. Together, we lay out the weekly astrology in an accessible, inclusive, candid, and insightful way, and what it means for you. Hollis is amazing. They're a seasoned astrologer and psychic medium. I'm a musician, artist, and storyteller. We love to make the cosmos relatable, which is why we begin by tuning in with a guided meditation, helping all of us ground and center and feel the planetary energies of the week more deeply. Then we dive into this week's astrological forecast, answer your questions, and then look at the horoscopes for all the signs for the week. Whether you're brand new to astrology or you've been following the stars for years, welcome to the conversation. Welcome to Rainbow Soulstrology. Let's get centered, take a breath, and explore what the universe has in store for us.
Hello.
Hi, everyone.
Oops. Welcome. I'm Hollis Taylor. I'm one of your astrologers here today on Rainbow Soulstrology Astrology Forecast. I'm so glad you're tuning in. We're so happy to have you with us today. And we're trying to make sure that we get everything set up for this week. And we hope we're here to help you get the vibes for the week. So we hope that you're tuning in to get an idea of what the week might be like this week. I welcome all of your questions and stuff. So if you have your astrology chart or you have a question about astrology, please go ahead and put it in the comments. And with me today, I have...
Of course, it's...
Unmute you.
Okay, I just unmuted myself. How did that happen? Not sure.
But you gotta say what you just said again.
Oh, sorry about that. Hi there, I'm Brighthawk. This is Rainbow Soulstrology for August 18th to the 24th. Always good to go over the week's events with you in the astrological skies. And before we get started, it's always good to get centered. Do a little meditation with Hollis. And Hollis, I think are you on mute? No.
Yeah, I am, but it's okay. Somebody said the sound's wonky, but I hear it pretty well. How about everybody else? Can you guys hear Brighthawk playing? So, I want to invite you to settle into your seat, relax, okay, great, Alyssa. Alyssa says she can hear you fine. Thanks, Alyssa. So just take a deep breath. close your eyes if you can. As you get centered and present in your body, I invite you to just allow all the tension from the day to just roll off of you. And imagine yourself underneath the night sky, the beautiful dark sky, where the stars seem to go on and on forever. And as you realize the massive, extensive, amazing, ongoing stars that go on forever and ever, you see a beautiful dark sky, just barely. You can tell that this is a new moon. And from right about where the moon should be, an astrology symbol comes out of the sky towards you. The symbol of the goddess, Virgo. And you come to understand that Virgo is exceptional, an expert, maybe driven by the desire for perfectionism, the deep desire for expertise, a way of managing things, organizing things, categorizing things. The only feminist of the entire zodiac, because it is represented by the earth goddess, the goddess of earth, the connection to animals, to plants and gardens, flowers, dirt and stones, a grounded, practical energy that takes a practical, problem-solving approach to everything. With some of the most amazing problem-solving skills of all the zodiac, this new moon in Virgo gives you the opportunity to start anew, new beginnings. And as the goddess fades into the darkness of the night, You are comforted in knowing that any challenges will be solved. As you come back into your body in the here and now, feel your bottom on the seat, roll your shoulders, wiggle your fingers and toes, stretch your arms, and open your eyes, and come back to the here and now, to the present moment. Well done, Bright Hawk.
Well, thank you. Likewise.
All right. Well, welcome everyone. I hope you guys are navigating this pretty blessed week in a pretty good way. I mean, we have had a lot of blessings, right? So so we've had a lot of blessings. We've had a lot of great things come up this week. Hopefully you've been able to navigate them and recognize the blessings coming through your way and give some extra gratitude. I know I have been blessed in a lot of different ways, and I'm grateful for that. So, I'm just encouraging you to be grateful. I always try to make sure I'm grateful when things are going really well, because it will really help you more. I don't know. I always believe that, like, the more um the more you're grateful, the more you bring good things in. Okay. And hey, Shawnee over in the group, and Samantha. Samantha says, I haven't been able to sleep for days and it's kind of out of nowhere. So I was thinking of going back and watching last week again to see what's going on. Actually, you know what I would guess, Samantha? I'm not sure if you have any Aries placements, but I know Neptune is retrograde. It's headed back to Pisces. But when Neptune is retrograde, it tends to. I had a nightmare last night. I woke up in a nightmare. I was like, oh my gosh. So, um, I had a nightmare about, like, really stupid stuff. I sometimes have weird dreams about being in, like, bad neighborhoods, like getting stuck in bad neighborhoods. I'm not really sure what that's about. If someone has an insight, I'd be happy to hear about it. But I've had numerous of them, and sometimes I'm in bad neighborhoods. I don't know what that's about. I did kind of grow up in sort of a borderline neighborhood, but it wasn't terrible. So if you've been having some nightmares or some shit that's been a little disturbing or something like that, just recognize that Neptune is retrograde, and so that's going on. Shawnee said, beautiful as always. You make my heart flutter with energy of positivity. That's what she said to Bright Hawk. By the way, Shawnee, Bright Hawk is, you can book with her now on our website, and the front page is being rebuilt right now. So at Psychic Insights, but you can book with Bright Hawk for astrology readings. She's also offering personal sound healing sessions, which I thought would be really fun. Did you want to say something?
Oh, many thanks. I just wanted to say thanks so much. I really appreciate it.
Mm.
Thanks for the encouragement. Thanks for the support. I appreciate this community in that regard. Everybody's always very positive. It's always great to have conversation and have it be interactive. So thank you for that. And thank you, Hollis, for all the work you do on the web side of things and helping this go wide. As you noticed last week, we changed the format to be so that it's formatted for phones, not just computer screens. I know that's going to work for a lot of people, and it might not work for every single person. Some people are still watching us on widescreens and would love a widescreen view. But we're trying to do other things to stay current and relevant, so hopefully it works for more people than not.
What do you guys think? What do you guys think about the change? Do you like it upright like this? Is it better for you? Or would you rather have it the other way? We'd love to have some feedback.
Yeah, especially as we're making this transition. We know one thing for sure is that when we do it this way, the reels, which reach a lot of people, thank you for folks sharing reels as well. Not everybody's going to join us for the whole, gosh, we go way over an hour, more than an hour most times. But a lot of people enjoy the reels, and the reels, you have to have it in this format. That's just sort of how things are structured. So hopefully it works for you. Let us know. We appreciate the feedback. Sorry if it doesn't. Apologies. Change, we try to deal with change in a good way, right? So.
All right. Well, there's a comment for you, Bright Hawk. I'm going to mute you for a second.
Oh, sure.
And for some reason, I cannot unmute myself in the moment. I can't unmute myself, so you'll have to unmute yourself.
You're unmuted.
I'm unmuted.
Yeah.
Up a little bit, you guys. So I'm trying to close some. Alyssa said, "Beautiful job, both of."
Oh, well, that's a good question. Do I have the songs memorized? Okay, well, all of the music, obviously, I'm the composer, so it's music. Yes, I channel it, and yes, there are familiar themes that musicians were known to come back to, and I just have Hollis and we've worked together now long enough that I kind of just have a sense of their ebb and flow and try to have the music reflect that ebb and flow. If you haven't checked it out, we do guided meditations on YouTube. If you want this on a regular basis, lots of folks download it into their YouTube page, and then they can have it on their phone and do it, do the guided meditation out in nature or wherever you're comfortable little meditation spot is. And that's the same experience of composing in the moment, feeling the flow of where Hollis's words are taking us, and just it just flows through me. Thanks for asking.
Bright Hawk, why don't you tell them a little bit about your history?
Well, my history is, well, I don't, that's, as a storyteller, I should have that answer down pat, but I don't. It's like, in what moment? So I'm 60 years old. I have been studying astrology probably for half my life. Like a lot of people, I probably became aware of astrology just before my Saturn return. And was grateful for the insight that it gave me, and man, it was a game changer. You get your first reading and you suddenly feel like, oh my god, I had no idea. And it just explains so much about your life, what you're here to do, how you're here to do it. So when Hollis and I have a nonprofit called Let's Dance Activities. We toured the country for many, many years where I played music and told stories at nursing homes. We put everybody in a circle, and I would sit in the middle and spin around on my stool and play my handpan. And it was really fun having a 100-year-old person say to me, I've never seen anything like that before. So that was always really fun. And then, of course, COVID hit, and of course, we came off the road. So when we came off the road, I really kind of blossomed into my other things that I do. So I'm an artist. Then we really started studying astrology intensively, like 2, 3 classes a day. And that was really fun because frankly, I don't know how anybody gets through these intense times that we're all living through without knowing just a little bit of astrology, at least a little bit. So it's great fun to be able to share that with you because whew, surf's up, baby. It's good to know what the conditions are, just like the weather. Is it a day for an umbrella? Is it a day for, let's go to the beach, that kind of thing. So it's a good week. We have a new moon. We have a lot of positive energy. I think we should get to the charts, don't you?
I would love to, but right now my computer is
acting weird. So,
yeah, so I was also referring to your musical history.
My musical history. Okay, so I feel like I'm stalling so Hollis can figure out their computer. My music history is, well, gosh, I've been a musician since I was a little girl. I've been on stage probably since I was about 5 or 6, maybe. Started playing music when I was maybe 7. I'm going to say I started learning how to play, back in the days when we actually had things like band and orchestra and what have you. And the fun part about becoming an artist now, in the last 10 years, 5-10 years, has been the fact that when I was a student and I was a musician, identified first and foremost, you didn't get to take art class. You only got to take music class. It was like one or the other. So by the time I got to high school and you had that thing called electives, I was like, I want an art class. This sucks that I don't get to do both. Why don't I get to do both? So I started doing both, and I've always kind of done both. But in the last many years, you'll see in Bright Hawk Productions, I also have an Etsy store. I do a lot of painting and crystal grids and stuff that I really enjoy sharing with folks. The painting behind me, the painting behind Hollis, the crystal grid behind Hollis. So that's all very fun. And as a musician, musicians are sort of known for the I know a ton of musicians that are both drummers and engineers. We tend to be good at numbers. We tend to be good at languages. And I play multiple instruments. I started as a kid on the woodwinds and flute and piccolo and what have you, marching band, the whole nine. But really my love of percussion and the music I play now has really been studying intensively the West African drum called the djembe. And of course I started playing the handpan about I guess about 20 years ago. It was God, it's amazing how fast time flies. It was gifted to me. Someone heard me playing, and a friend of ours had a handpan, and I was playing with her. And his name is Gary. He's that plays the piano in the opening and the intro and the outro that you hear for Psychic Insights. You hear a piano with me, and that's Gary Stadler, who's a very accomplished pianist. He probably has at least a half dozen CDs where he plays piano. One of his really popular ones is called Fairies in the Woods. Not sure which is, they're both plural or not. Fairy in the Woods, Fairies in the Woods. So I've played the handpan for the last 20 years. I've also played marimba, which is a West African instrument. Really, really fun to play in a group. I played that for many years. And then when we went on tour, it was just kind of a challenge to keep, how many things can I just keep going simultaneously? So I took a a break from the marimba group, but it was really fun. So I'm just, filling a little space here while Hollis gets their computer together. And if you're tuning in, we're going to go over the charts. We're going to talk about from today, August 18th through the 24th. If you're finding that today's energy is interesting, we are in the middle of a void moon. We have a void of course moon, which means... Okay, Hollis is back. I'm going to put you on mute. So if you're new to Rainbow Soulstrology, I talk a lot about the moon and I talk about the void moon. And the void of course moon, that's what it's called, void of course, is when the moon transitions from one sign to the next. And the moon changes signs about every 2.5 days. And of course, astrology is, we know the 12 zodiac. And of course, each of the zodiacs has an element, and the element is either air, earth, water, fire, right? So when this moon moves a sign, it's also changing elements. And it's a big deal to go from, in this case, going from fiery Leo into, yay, I'm home, water, Cancer. Yeah, you know how you are when you get home. Finally I'm home. I get to relax, put on whatever I'm comfortable with. The void of course moon is when the moon is actually at its least dramatic, least emotional. Of course, the moon it represents mother, it represents emotions, it represents the undercurrent, what's our ocean of emotion. And so when the moon is at home, it's at home in Cancer. And so it's strong. It's in its residence, right? But it's chill because it's void, and it's void until the end of this broadcast, about 7 p.m. Mountain Time, an hour and a half from now. It'll come out of the void, and those are the times I notice to really pay attention to. Do you go from feeling like everything's kind of cool and chill, and then all of a sudden it feels like we're back in high frequency, what happens for you? A lot of folks have said to us, really interesting, the void of course moon, I feel more productive. I'm able to focus. It's almost like you quiet down the emotional energy. You're able to focus more mentally, especially if you're like an air sign, probably. So I'm always curious, how is the void moon for you? Did today feel different than any other day? Because it's been void all day long. So if there's, and like I said, going out of Leo into Cancer, or out of Gemini, the moon went out of Gemini into Cancer, and then that void stops or finishes at 7 p.m. tonight. So we'll see, right? How you doing, Hollis?
I finally got it working.
Yay!
I so appreciate that. Oh my gosh. So I will say, if you take a look at these charts, you can, first you should
I guess we need to fix this frame so we don't have Rainbow Soul right over our face.
I know. So I was thinking about doing that. So, the one of the things that you should remember for this week is that, first of all, the sun is in Leo, and so you should have, we're still having a lot of blessings this week overall. Like overall, this is a pretty blessed week. So, like I said, if this past week, if you've been grateful for the blessings that you have had, I would continue to be like, thank you for the blessings so that you can carry over into the next week. Right. And I've tried to be as grateful as I can for all the blessings that have come to me this week, and continue to be grateful for that. Like, for instance, just for instance, Facebook is deciding to be nice to our Psychic Insights page. and starting to feature it and invite people to it automatically, which I think is awesome. So please keep commenting. Please let us know. By the way, give us some feedback. Like, do you guys want to see the charts? Do you like to see the charts? Can you see the charts in this format? Let us know how it works for you. And I also think that we can, take it out and put it back in. Okay. So Bright Hawk and I, we just showed you the chart for the beginning of the week. Like she said, it's a void moon. There's a lot of blessings going on this week with trines and sextiles. And I was just listening to Christopher Renstrom talk about sextiles, and I think might have been Rick Levine too. And sextiles are a little bit less. They're a little bit more, like we would call it, minor, a minor aspect. Like trine is a major aspect, and that's when things are coming together easily. But and it's usually, a trine is usually represented by the little lines in the middle of the chart that you can see here. I'm going to add it. You can see that the trines, they're blue lines, and they have like a little triangle in the middle of it. You can see that on your own astrology chart maybe. And then the sextiles have like a little star, right? Okay, they have like the star that you can find on the number 8 on your keyboard, like that type of star. And when you look at those kinds of connections in your astrology chart, when things are in a sextile or in a trine, those are things that come together easily. And what's the difference between the two? Well, a trine will generally be within the same element. So it would be like one fire sign and another fire sign will be of the same element, okay? Or two planets, one is in Scorpio and one is in Cancer or something like that, okay? So because they're both water signs. Okay, so then they have the same element, so it's a little bit easier for those two planets and those two zodiacs to kind of communicate and come together and work together to bring a blessing into your life. And that's what a trine is, okay? Now, a sextile is actually, they're not necessarily the same element because they're only 60 degrees apart. And what's nice about them is that they usually put away their differences in order to come together. So think of it like cooperation. Okay, so Alyssa says she loves seeing the charts. It's a little difficult to see them, but I take a screenshot and zoom in to see when I go back through and listen again. Okay, thanks, Alyssa. Good to know that. So, I'm not really sure because we're trying to do it this way so we can make reels. And then we can, like take the broadcast out a little bit better because our audience is kind of narrow at this time. Like we're having a hard time growing past the people that stay with us, which I'm grateful for you guys. But if we want to grow a little bit, having reels is one way to do that. And and sometimes people can't tune in for the whole thing, and I like to just give them like just their zodiac horoscope or something like that. So I don't know, maybe we have to rethink it, not sure. So anyway, so the sextile comes together in a way where a sextile is essentially when the two planets put aside their differences in order to come together. It's like cooperation. Even though you may not like completely get along with that person, maybe you put aside your differences in order to come together. So that's pretty much how a sextile works. So when you take a look at the charts here, you can quickly see that there are definitely lots of blue lines in the middle there, and there's lots of communication amongst planets going on. But it's mostly like Bright Hawk said, the biggest thing today is that it's a void of course moon. So that void of course moon is in conjunct Pluto, but and I would say that even today I've had a little bit of trouble trying to get things done, and that's usually where I struggle with the void of course moon, because I'm like I have to I can't take off every time moon is void of course. Okay, so all right. So then as we go on to Tuesday, go ahead, right off.
So I just also wanted to point out, because it's exact today. I'm glad that you explained the sextile, what that means in terms of it's it's not the easy come easy go the way a trine is. It's we have to work together, and if we work together, cooperation and collaboration creates beautiful things. So Mars is sextiling Mercury today. It's exact at 7 degrees. Mars is in Libra. It's been in Libra now for last week or so. And so Mars in Libra, Libra's all about cooperation. And Mars wants action. Mars wants to do action. Now, Mars is not strong in Libra because Mars is super confrontational, and that's like the opposite of Libra. Libra's like, whoa, can't we all just get along? Libra's all about the scales, right? It's got to be fair, it's got to be just, everybody should be treated fairly. So it's really important that when Mars is in Libra, be gentle, be careful about your words, how you say things, because Mercury is involved, and Mercury is all about communication, and Mercury is in a fire sign, Leo. So things could be kind of, I'm a Leo moon. We always talk about both sides of astrology, right? So the beautiful side of a Leo is the integrity, the honesty, the leadership, the let's all come together for the greatest good of all in a noble and integrous way. That's wonderful, Leo. Challenged Leo is arrogant. I'm better than you. Can't you get your shit together? I'm waiting around for all you people. Can be a little impatient. Leo can be super charming or could be a little impatient, right? And we know all of the zodiac, we all have, there's the light and the shadow of everything, right? The challenge and the good. So the sextile, Mars in Libra, Mercury in fiery Leo, it's communication, it's action, it's an opportunity to collaborate in a good way for the greatest good of all, because that's what Libra and Leo have in common, is they want what's good for all. So that perfects today, and then it's a separating sextile for the rest of the week. So I just wanted to point that out because, Mars and Mercury involved, things don't last long. The moon's involved, it doesn't last long. On the other hand, what lasts a really long time, anybody remember us talking about this minor trine? Pluto, Uranus, Neptune, and Saturn, the slowest movers, all right there, which means they're going to have the longest, deepest, like echo of change throughout the world, particularly because we have Aries, Saturn at 0 degree Aries, which is a world point, which is exactly what it sounds like. The 0 degree cardinal signs, and of course that's Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn, the season starters, if you will. The cardinal signs, the 0 point is a world point, which means that everyone is experiencing this. I find that this is very interesting, that the negotiations to end the Ukrainian war are happening right now. And I'm crossing fingers that with the void moon all day, that it kept people focused and not dramatic, collaborating instead of, challenging. Hopefully that things, I don't know what the news is for tonight and what happened, but hopefully that these things can be worked with in a good way. And that's part of what Mercury, communication, Mars, action, that sextile, what are we doing to make everything better for everybody? And being mindful of how we can have an influence. It's surprising sometimes what an influence you can have with your words. good or bad. All right, so now we could probably move on to Tuesday.
All right. So, this is for Tuesday. What I was looking at for Tuesday was that we had a lot, that same sextile between Mars and Mercury that Bright Hawk was just talking about will still be going on. The sun is in a trine to Chiron, so I really feel like we're on a great healing journey, and our healing is coming together. So we're probably figuring out some things. For me, when I think about that, I'm like, well, gosh, I hope that we're finding healing, because I've been struggling with some health things that haven't been easy to resolve. But so if you are struggling with something, it could be directly like something in the chart, in a square to something. And just to let you know, on your chart, if you look for the sixth house, that's a piece of the pie. And that has a lot to do with your health and your well-being. So does the first house. The first and the sixth house have a lot to do with like daily well-being and health. I do a lot of intuitive health readings, and one of the things that I would say is like right now, my house of health is ruled by Aries, right? And Saturn and Neptune are going backwards. And that will be pretty much all week like that. Now, they have been in a trine for quite some time, a sextile, sorry, to both Uranus and Pluto. Okay, you can kind of see that little blue triangle down at the bottom there. And that little blue triangle is known as a minor trine. And I'm hoping that I'm on the right path, right? Because that rule, Aries rules my house of health. And Saturn is going retrograde. I hear that. And so is Neptune. Saturn will move back into Aries before Neptune does. And that'll be in another week or so. Saturn will move back. It's at 0 degrees Aries right now. So if you have anything on that world point right now, you might be noticing Saturn retrograde. And that's going to have something to do with your system of how you do things. So when I'm thinking about like the health challenge that I'm having a hard time resolving, I think, okay, well, what in my system needs to change, right? Okay, what can I do differently to that is feasible for me, right? Okay, so that's the kind of that's Saturn. Saturn is about your personal system. It's not just about the system like, the government, but it's also about like your personal system, how you do things. And if you happen to be a Scorpio rising, Aries is probably ruling your sixth house. And so then that would put you also with Aries ruling your sixth house. But you should see where Aries is in your chart, just so you have an idea of where Saturn and Neptune are. Saturn is going to move out of Aries and into Pisces. When it does, I feel like there will be less illusions. So if you feel like you're not seeing things completely, or maybe you're missing something, that's definitely the Neptune Saturn. They're sort of like traveling together. And so I feel that as the two of them as Saturn and Neptune travel together, they're kind of keeping in the sort of the illusion. But once Saturn heads over into Pisces in a couple weeks, I feel like we'll probably have they'll be separated more before Neptune joins Saturn back in Pisces. I feel that during that time, it might be easier to have sort of a sneak peek into what has been hidden underneath of there. Okay. So I just feel like that, so I just feel like that could be some of our reality. And as we go on to Wednesday looks like it's another beautiful day, really. Honestly, we still have a lot of these aspects that we're talking about. Of course, the moon's in Cancer there. It doesn't look like we have a huge void moon or anything. And, that Mars Mercury sextile is still going on. So pretty much, sorry, the Mars Mercury sextile is starting to, get a little further apart. Mercury is moving a little bit faster. And then the only thing that I noticed is that there's like a little bit of a basket. You can kind of see like a basket formation at the bottom of the chart there. It's mostly blue lines with a red line in the middle. And that will have a lot to do with helping us resolve problems. I'm hoping that this, like Bright Hawk said, that it will help with the wars and help us find a resolution to a lot of those wars on Wednesday, maybe. So I'm hoping that they have some conversations on Wednesdays.
Yeah, and I wanted to say
You gotta unmute yourself.
on Tuesday, our cancers and the folks that have strong cancer placements with the moon passing through Cancer. Remember, Jupiter's there in Cancer, so is Venus. So maybe have a good conversation with your mom on Tuesday or Wednesday, and that's a very positive thing. So when Wednesday, I love that basket, and then what also is starting to happen is that Venus is starting to line up into some various aspects. Opposite Pluto, that's the red line through the middle, and you see the opposition starts off with Pluto at 1 degree in Aquarius and the moon reaching Leo at 0. And then eventually you're going to see Venus, as Venus starts to leave Cancer and enter Leo. They'll line up in the exact same position. So, yeah, basket. Yeah, the universe has got you. Rockabye baby. And there is a void moon. It does last on Wednesday from lunchtime, 12:30 p.m. Mountain Time, all the way to 11:30 p.m. I took a sneak peek at next week's void moons. We have some really short ones next week, but this week we have some really long ones. This one is a long one. So Wednesday, be mindful of what your energy feels like. For some people, it feels like, oh, thank goodness, the emotional energy gets tuned down. It's easier for me to focus. Let us know if that's true for you. For other people, it's like wearing a wet blanket. I think that's usually when it feels like a water sign. It literally can feel like a wet blanket. But this is the moon moving from its home sign in Cancer into fiery Leo, which is, we just talked about. So I wouldn't be surprised if you feel like you have energy and focus for things that you need to have energy and focus for. The other thing we always say about void moons is because it's less emotional energy, if you can take time for self-care, great. Not always possible. We're in the middle of a void moon right this minute. And so it's just something to be aware of, and I really like knowing about it, and I'll be curious what your experience is of the void, if it helps you relax, calm down, get focused, or if it feels like, I'm so tired, I just have to go to bed. Which one is it for you? So we'll have a void moon. And then, of course, the moon is opposite Pluto, and it's now also in a minor trine. So we have 2 minor trines. We've seen the minor trine we talked about a minute ago all month: Pluto, Saturn, Neptune, and Uranus. And now you have a minor trine with Saturn, Neptune, Uranus, and the moon, and which is what makes up that basket. So again, the same energies that we've been talking about. Sextiles are all about collaboration. And in this case, we're starting to have a conversation with Uranus in a bigger way. And Uranus is a surprise minute. Uranus is, well, why do we have to do it that way? Let's try this. Surprise a minute is Uranus. Revolutionary is Uranus. Big change is Uranus. So what is it that Uranus is potentially? Uranus, Hollis likes to say, and I think it's true, Uranus it's not just radical change for radical change's sake. When Uranus feels like it's, slapped you across the head or something, It's usually to get you back on your path, to wake you the heck up, you know? So I often say, you guys know, I've written a storybook called The Dancing Hippo. One of the little memes, one of the characters says, I'm willing to be delightfully surprised, willing to be delightfully surprised by how sweet this life can be. What are you willing to be? That's one of the questions Saturn and Uranus are going to ask in this conversation with this minor trine. What are you willing to be? And what are you willing to do? And when you have Saturn, Saturn is going to want to say, okay, let's get it done. It's the structure of things. So, and of course, Neptune is all about illusion, delusion. So we're trying to see things clearly here as these two walk together. Uranus is in Gemini, so it's really revolutionary thinking. Air signs are all about thinking. Think about this differently, which could be really good because it's in a sextile. So that has a collaborative energy to it. So there you go. Those two minor trines, there's a lot of energy there, and hopefully it's managed well in your life.
I want to answer Shawnee's question.
Okay.
Shawnee asked a pretty good question. She says, what does that mean for someone like me that's a Leo, Cancer? So she's a Leo sun, Leo rising, Cancer moon, I think. And what I'm going to say for you, Shawnee, you're just probably going to notice it. It's going to move from Cancer, which could be emotions. So if you're holding a lot of anxiety and stuff, and then it moves into Leo, then, while the moon is void, you might be like sitting on a time bomb there. So make sure you address any underlying feelings so that you can more emotionally regulate, especially since I think you mentioned also that you have a legal thing to deal with. I would highly recommend that you really work on emotional regulation during that time. Take deep breaths. There's lots of videos and things online to help you with emotional regulation. So that would be my warning of that, is that when that you're like sitting on a time bomb during the void moon, probably an emotional, anxious driven time bomb that could make you kind of snippy snappy. Especially in the Leo, with the moon in Leo, can be kind of snappy at things. It doesn't usually last very long. It's sort of like a spark rather than a fire. And so it's more like, and then it goes away. And so I recognize that. And so that's probably what it's going to feel like. It's probably going to, if you're sitting on emotions that you haven't expressed or can't express because, you're dealing with the system or something, then you're going to want to make sure you emotionally regulate, get into your spiritual aspect, stay very attuned, do extra meditation, extra emotional regulation. And anytime I'm dealing with the system or the outside world, I do extra meditation because the system will probably trigger you. That's just my assumption.
And this is also when I would highly recommend, if you can use music or something that helps you come back to your happy space. I have many a playlist that helps me get back to my happy place, and listen to that right before you have to do something. Anything you can do to sort of help recenter yourself. So extra meditation time, extra yoga time, or dance. I love the self-awareness of it's difficult for me to be around people when it's a void moon. I have a friend that calls it, I'm not fit for human consumption. I think that's a great way. I mean, we all have those moments where you're like, I'm not fit for human consumption. I just need to be in my bubble. And that's perfectly okay. And I applaud the self-awareness, because if we all had a little bit more self-awareness, we'd all be a little nicer, I think. So good stuff.
Okay.
Thanks for the questions. Really great.
Alyssa says, my Gemini moon feels super productive. I'm going to take care of the muting there. My Gemini moon feels super productive during void of course moons. Every once in a while, my watery Pisces sun gets a wet blanket feel, and my fiery Leo rising feels a bit more chill. Okay. Yeah, Alyssa, that makes sense. And then when it comes out, do you notice when the void of course moon ends? Do you notice that? I mean, I notice. I notice when it goes in and out, just say. um so and Shawnee said, I can't be around people during the void. Their energies throw me off and I'm really uncomfortable. Oh, that's because Shawnee, you're a Cancer moon. I think that's why. And so what ends up happening for you, Shawnee, is because anyone that's a Cancer moon is gonna like feel like they're super, because they're ruled by the moon. Cancer's ruled by the moon. So then you're going to feel like you're going to be able to be very empathic during those times. So if you have a Cancer moon, you should definitely be paying attention to Cancer, to the moon, and to the void of course moon, because when the moon goes void, it's going to be hard for you to like just hold your own boundaries and hold your own space. And then as soon as the void moon goes out, then you might feel a little bit better at holding your boundaries. You'll go back to the way you were before. But I feel like during the void of course moon, it might be a little bit harder for you. So it's just best thing to do is just behave differently. So, like Shawnee's saying, that's why I told Shawnee, right now she's still trying to right now she's just trying to get her feet on the ground, if that makes sense. She's just trying to learn her way of managing herself, so she's just doing better at sort of holding her ground. And it would be best if she didn't have a whole lot of other people's emotions getting involved in her own. So that's probably why I think, Shawnee, you described a situation and we looked up the timing and I was like, oh, that's a void moon. That's probably what was going on, and that's probably why you didn't feel like being around anyone. So that's a great time. Just be aware of when it comes out, Shawnee. So just note it, note to self, and know that when they're happening, it's happening, and know when it comes out, because you'll probably feel better. So Carrie Kalinsky says music saves me every day. And Shawnee said, Bright Hawk, I have your album. I listen to your album every day when I meditate.
Go ahead.
And Carrie said, I'm a Cancer moon. I'll see how I feel on Wednesday. Okay. All right. That's awesome, Carrie. Let us know how it goes.
So,
and then Alyssa was saying that she can definitely feel it come in and out.
Yeah.
All right. And so then as we go on into Thursday, you can take a look. Go ahead.
So, holy void of course moons, Batman. Thursday, we have a void moon that starts at 6:15 p.m. on Thursday evening and goes through Friday into Saturday morning and doesn't end until 5:30 a.m. on the 23rd. I double checked it like 3 times because I was like, what? Wait, what? Okay. Oh my goodness. So the really wild thing is you look at Thursday, Friday's chart, you're going to see the moon's in Leo. It conjuncts Mercury. So again, we're talking about Mercury, communication, how you feel about things with the moon. And so now the sun, when the moon is going to conjunct the sun, because of course that's what makes it a new moon, we have a trine to Chiron and a square to Uranus. So that conversation, hopefully, is one of healing. Remember, squares can be challenges, but they can also be opportunities. You got to make a choice. You got to make a decision. This way, that way. Doesn't always have to be the hardest thing in the world. Sometimes it can be a blessing. Certainly makes things happen. That's for sure. So Thursday is what we would call the dark moon. It says waning crescent, but really it's the dark moon. It's the day before the new moon, which is on Friday. And then, so we're the last day of Sun in Leo on Thursday. And let's go to Friday. Let's go to Friday. Let's go to Friday, Hollis.
We're on Friday.
Okay. So now, ta-da! The sun enters Virgo. Just after the sun enters Virgo, the moon will enter Virgo. We'll have a new moon at 0 Virgo on Friday evening. And the moon is void all of this time, all of Friday, Friday night, Friday morning, Friday evening. It's void. Void in Virgo. Now, Virgo, what's the vibe of Virgo? Virgo is the vibe of organization, nurturing, taking care of things. Virgo usually has a sense of the big picture and really likes it when everybody rises up and does the right thing. Virgo is a great creator, a creative collaborator. So it's positive and it's charged, but what you're also going to see is now the sun and the moon are going to be in a yod, which is going to be the next day, which, if you recall, a yod is also known as a finger of God. And what it means is it's two inconjuncts and a sextile. The inconjuncts are 150 degrees. So instead of being opposite the side of the opposite the circle would be 180 degrees, right? This is 150, so it's go straight across and then go over one. And so the base is 60 degrees apart, which is a sextile. So we're going to see on Saturday that the moon is, and the sun and the moon are at the apex of the finger of God in Virgo, and the base of it is Pluto in retrograde in Aquarius, and that's Saturn Neptune retrograde in Aries. Potent stuff. You want to talk to that, Hollis?
Well, first of all, I want to say, Carrie asked about the void of course moon. There is a void of course moon, Carrie, on Wednesday, and then there's another one on Thursday that doesn't start until Thursday at 6 something at night, 6:10 or something, and it goes all the way until it goes from 6:15 p.m. Mountain Time until Saturday morning at 5:30 Mountain Time. So that's Brighthawk is saying there's two different void of course moons. They often happen more than one time in a week. They happen every time the moon moves from one sign to another, pretty much, and sometimes they're just a couple of minutes, and sometimes they're all day long or 2 days. So it's a rare occasion, but it happens, and that's why we're doing the report for you. So when we're done, just rewind back and do like Alyssa said and zoom in, so you can see the chart better. And we might change the format of how we do things, because I understand that you guys are trying to see the charts. And so anyway, so the void of course moon is on Thursday and will go all the way through. And so Friday all day is void. And then what I wanted to also say is, Shawnee, you asked about that time, and I've already told you to go back and listen to the recording. I already told you. And I know that you need to know about 1:15 in the afternoon. The moon is not void. And so you just need to look at the reading I already did for you. Go listen to the recording of your coaching session. I sent it to you. That would be my suggestion. And then we do have Venus square Chiron on Friday, but I feel like because the moon is void, it could be a little bit like maybe there's some wounds you have regarding money or relationships or something else that needs to be addressed. With Venus square Chiron. Chiron is very much like about our wounds, and it's the wounded healer. It is retrograde in Aries right now. It's towards the late degrees of Aries. It's way far away from Saturn and Neptune. It's more of the late degrees, where Saturn and Neptune are in the beginning degrees of Aries. So I feel like even though it's in a square to Venus, I feel like it is something that you can solve, something that you can handle or take care of in some way. And with the Venus in square, that square going on. And then, of course, there's a yod pointing at the sun. So I feel like regardless of what happens on Friday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday during that yod, I feel like it's very much destined, and that's pretty much what a yod is. It's pretty much destined to be true. So whatever's happening in your life, you might want to take a look at it and then be like, okay, I guess this is meant to happen. I mean, I try to see most of my life that way, but if something comes up for you, something that's hard, don't let that challenge get you down. If the moon is void, of course, from Leo into Virgo, it makes me feel like there's some problem solving skills that will need to come up, and so you'll probably figure it out by Saturday morning, and maybe you'll have a resolution for that, and you can just kind of move on from that. Okay, so keep in mind that the new moon is there, and so that's also a great time to do any kind of magic or intention setting going forward. If there's something a problem you're trying to resolve or anything like that, I feel like that's what the new moon in Virgo is about. It's about new beginnings. It's about tapping into the expert energy, or pulling in your own personal expertise about whatever it is that you're really good at. Or pulling in other experts to learn about how to handle this or that. It's a very Virgo energy. So I feel like that's a great way to that's a great way to sort of tap into things there. And I would say that, like, with that in conjunct to the sun, like that, with Pluto and the Saturn thing, it's probably going to be more affecting, like, the system, the government, protests. The protests will probably be coming up, especially because Pluto is in Aquarius. It's sort of the United States Pluto returns right now, so we're kind of experiencing a lot of changes in our government, in case you didn't notice. So what will probably happen is, with that yod at the sun in Leo, also what you should also know is that Donald Trump is a Leo rising, and he has Mars on his rising. So there could be something that he is here to do that will come true, especially Thursday, Friday, probably more likely Friday. It might brew up on Thursday. Sometimes he's a little bit fast because he has Mars on the ascendant, so he tends to be sometimes a little bit fast. If you noticed when he bombed Iraq, I think it or Iran, Iran, they he did it like sort of really fast, okay? And he did it like the day before the perfection of Mars on his ascendant. But I knew he was going to do something because Mars was coming on to his ascendant, and Mars is all about conflicts, and it's on his ascendant. So he's going to lead with conflict, okay? And that's pretty much how he leads. Arrogant conflict. That's pretty much who he is, okay? And so when that happens, you know what we're probably going to see with that yod pointing at the sun in Leo from Pluto in Aquarius, which is the United States. Pluto returns, which means we are going through major things being destroyed right now in order for us to rebuild. So there's major things he's here to destroy so that we can rebuild it later. Okay. So as much as it's irritating and frustrating, trust me, I cuss him out on a daily basis. Okay. I mean, this house is not lacking in the cussing out Donald Trump business. Okay. We're all on the same page. And of course, it's supposed to be annoying. It's supposed to piss you off. It's supposed to drive you to go to the protest on Saturday, this weekend coming up. There's a protest. And if you can't physically go to the protest, then at least share the protests on your page, or encourage people that are going, or say a prayer for people. Okay. Send out good energy. Do something to support that energy, because you want it to change too. But Pluto in Aquarius is asking us to stand up. It's asking the people, it's sort of going to the American people and going, hey, wake up. Okay. and it's asking us to stand up for what we're about. What are we about? Are we about we the people? Do we really care for that? Is the system reflecting that? Do you think the system reflects taking care of all the people? That's what the universe is asking you to take a look at right now. And so take a look at that. And I think that's what that yacht is going to speak to more than in our personal lives, mostly because Pluto and Saturn and Neptune are all on a world point, which means it's going to have to do with the world. Maybe we might even get a resolution to a war or something worse could happen where Putin gets pissed off and just bombs something or does something nuts. Okay. But yeah, that could happen, but probably not, because the moon is void in Leo. So I feel like the energy will probably sit until Saturday morning, maybe, or maybe late Friday night. But Saturday, then I'm gonna feel a little bit more sort of sensitive about what might be going on, because when we come out of a void moon, that's when the energies can kind of go a little wonky. So just hang in there, and just always remind yourself that what is happening for a reason. The universe is asking us to change the way we've done things, change the way we're doing things. We have to care more. We have to stop blocking out the news. We have to stop ignoring what's happening. We have to, because that's part of the problem. If you're not at least voting in the right direction, you're part of the problem. Okay? And so you have to do that, okay? And the problem is that the thing is that astrology, the reason Alexa's asking me, why does everything have to be about politics? It's not necessarily about politics, Alexa. The point is that Pluto is on the world point, Saturn is on the world point, and the sun is on Donald Trump's ascendant. I assure you, this weekend will be about politics. And when your country gets blown up, then you'll care more. So that's really what I have to say about that. And the fact is that it's going to happen, and we have to care more, because I know I personally have tuned out the news. I personally have said screw you to the news. I personally have turned it off. I personally have walked away from it because it pisses me off too. And I wish there was something you can do. But there is a circle of control that you do have. There is a bit of control you do have. You do have the ability to go to a protest. You do have the ability to support protesters. You do have the ability to share and speak up and speak your mind, and to say what's true for you. Okay? And yes, it's an uncomfortable conversation, but I was just listening to scientists who are studying the United States and the political atmosphere in the United States right now. You know what the number one problem right now is? You know what the number one problem is? The fact that we don't talk about politics. That's the problem, because most of us agree on basic things. Most of us agree that everyone should be treated fairly. Most of us agree on healthcare. Most of us agree on how we take care of education and how children are educated. The thing is that the list of things we mostly agree on, but because a lot of us check out, and because a lot of us don't pay attention, and because a lot of us choose to zip our lips about politics, what ends up happening is then we're creating the separation. So, and that's Pluto in Aquarius retrograde right now. And that's what it's creating. And we have to wake up. And so I'm doing my job. I'm stepping up. I'm saying what I'm thinking. Bright Hawk's saying what she's thinking. And I welcome you to speak your truth on this channel. Go ahead. The astrology is clear. Donald Trump is here to destroy the United States so that we can rebuild it in a better way. That's it. Okay. So Ed said that he likes to see us and that there's enough space. Maybe Ed, that's not what it's about. It's actually about I can't make the chart be in with us. And what happens is we take this recording later and we make reels so that we can expand our audience, because currently our audience is at kind of a standstill. So we're trying to make it into reels. But when I do it the other way, what ends up happening is that our video, like, it doesn't make it into a reel in a good way. So I'm just trying to find a good way. Maybe I can find something else that does the reels in a better way. Okay. So Carrie said, I hope the void moon doesn't have a sluggish effect on me.
I tend to doubt it on this one because it's not a water sign. It's going from a fire to an earth sign, right? Virgo's earth, and it's ruled by Mercury. So those placements make me think it's probably not going to feel like a wet blanket. I notice it more when it goes in, like, to and from Pisces kind of thing. But let us know. I'm always real curious. It also has a lot to do with what's your moon. And of course, we've encouraged folks again and again, especially if you have strong Cancer placements like a Cancer moon, sun, or rising, get yourself a moon app. They're not very expensive. There's numerous moon apps. It tells me every day what to expect, how it impacts me, because it's always about me. That's the fun part about astrology. It's all about you, honey. You get to learn everything that makes you uniquely you. So I also want to say, if I didn't say it, Hollis has kind of emphasized it. When we talk about the Yod, when we talk about the finger of God, particularly on Saturday, the reason it's called a finger of God is it's saying destiny is this way. And with the sun and the moon being absolutely the point of focus in Virgo, yes, it will be intense because there's also that square to the square to Uranus. That's a little bit intense. But it also, Virgo's all about the greater good. Virgo is all about looking after one another. And I loved what Hollis said, because I think it's what we have to keep our eye on the ball. If you don't want to talk about politics, fine. Let's talk about, what does it take to be a good human? And part of what has made watching the news and these ICE raids so god-awful is, where the hell is our humanity? Seeing children starve to death in Gaza is horrifying. But if we are one race, and that is the human race, we are the family of humanity. So really taking a check-in about, are we being good humans? And that's really the only question. Are we making the world a better place? Or are we contributing to the downfall? It's as simple to me as that. So we do everything we can to make the world a beautiful place, to take care of our seniors, our elders, to look after the children. These are non-political, non-controversial, that's it, thank you, things. It's just so obvious to me. So when we have to witness our government doing god-awful things with supposedly our backing, no. I do not believe in the separation of families because you think that's the way immigration should be. God, it's just horrifying to me. So we're really wanting to look at that from a humanity. What are we doing to become better humans? And if we can't see ourselves towards that, that's when I think everyone feels incredibly depressed. Mm-hmm. I can't re-engineer the government by myself, nor can you. But we can be responsible for our little piece. And that's all we can do, right? That's the best we can do. And that's our goal. Okay. Looks like we have some more comments. You want to bring anything up? What do you got, Hollis?
I'm laughing. Okay. So, Alyssa, I hear what you're saying. That could be an idea. And then, I just wanted to address Brianna. Brianna, I hear you that your daughter is turning 13. Monday should be an okay day. That's next Monday, the 25th. There's lots of blessings going on over the weekend. I mean, the thing is that, she chose, her soul chose to come back at this time, first of all. And second of all, you chose to raise her. So, you know what, Brianna? I know that you have something within you that will do the absolute best you can. I know you're going to be a great mom. I know you're a great mom. And I know that you'll do an excellent job with your daughter, and you'll let her be the absolute um authentic expression of herself. At least we don't have to worry about you oppressing her, and we can allow her to be as free as she can be and be an amazing person. So just try to see it as, I always think about when my grandchildren are, my granddaughter is 10 years old, and I always think, what would I want to have wanted when I was 10? What did I need? And so just try to think about it that way, Brianna. Just think like, well, she's 13. What did I need when I was 13? What would have been most helpful when I was 13? So try to get out of your emotional experience and instead try to be emotionally supportive of her. I think that that's one of the best things you can do. And Brianna, as she gets a little bit older, or you feel like she needs some life guidance, you can bring her to me. I will work with both of you, and I just ask that you stay, because she is underage. But we can look at her astrology chart together and help her sort of, make life plans or get in touch. I do it with my grandchildren all the time. And to be frank with you, I think they do really well. My granddaughter is 10 years old, and she really has some great benefits. I've noticed that when I acknowledge certain things in her, that she feels more empowered. She thinks Jane Goodall is just the most amazing scientist ever and an amazing animal activist. And when I told her she had a similar chart to Jane Goodall, she was like, "Really?" Okay. And so just knowing that is a big deal to her, and I feel like she really sort of felt it in her heart, and that's good, right? We want her to look up to somebody like Jane Goodall, right? So, and it's really important. So, um, anyway, so I know, Brianna, I know you're not, I know Brianna's like, thank you. I'm just not ready. Sometimes it's hard, Brianna, when, when kids become a teenager. My kid became 5, I cried, and then when he became 13, I said, "Whew, okay, here we go." Okay. So, I did a coming of age ceremony with my child, and that really helped him a lot. I think it helped him step up into his power. Okay. I agree, Carrie. It does seem that people are losing their empathy and their humanity. And we all chose to be here. That's right, Samantha. We all chose to be here at this time. Samantha's in the group and Carrie's in the group. I agree, that people are losing their humanity and their empathy, but I think that's what's supposed to happen, Carrie. Like, I mean, according to the astrology, this guy's supposed to come in, destroy the government, break it down, and then he'll probably, croak or something, or the government, the protests will fire him. The people will probably fire him, which is actually more likely to happen. And then as we fire him, then I think we'll slowly start to rebuild. And I think that, I don't think that the United States is meant to be built as a Christian nation, because we're supposed to be accepting of all religious paths, all spiritual paths. And of course, as an official Wiccan, which is an official religion in the United States, it doesn't apply to me to not be to be, you know, transgender people exist. I am non-binary, and check it out. Look, I exist. Um, so,
Thank goodness.
Alyssa said, I said, she says, yes, absolutely. I try to think of what a teen would need in this day and age, as well as what I needed at that same age. And then I try to be exactly what I didn't have and be the exact thing I needed to boot for all my kids' day and age. Exactly, Alyssa. I think it's a great way to approach parenthood. I just think it's really helpful. Brianna said, thank you, Hollis. I think it's so hard for in our society because I'm trying to be the open mom. She and I are so close. My mama bear is just coming out, trying to let her make her own path. Love that idea. Coming to age ceremony sounds fun. I think you should do it. Brianna, it really helped my son feel in his power. I'm thinking that my granddaughter will probably need to do that too. I'm going to wait probably until she starts her cycle, and then we'll plan a big ceremony for her. I don't know if she started her cycle yet, but that's a common thing that we did in our ancestors way long ago before Christianity destroyed our religion. And so as we go on for the weekend, you guys, Carrie's going to pray for you, Brianna, over there in the group. She's going to pray for you. And Carrie said, our local politicians are considering letting someone put in data centers all around us. These data centers are horrible for people and our environment. I'm not sure about that, Carrie. I'll have to look that up some more. But thanks for making us aware of it. I appreciate what the governor of California is about to do. I totally appreciate his movement about the whole cheating re-regulation nonsense that's going on. I think it's great what he's doing. I appreciate his leadership. And then Samantha said, I honestly had a weird feeling when he was elected this time that whatever is going to happen, this is to make sure in the future people like him can never be allowed in power again or something like that. Exactly, Samantha. That's exactly what happened in the astrology, Samantha. That's exactly what the astrology says, because at the time of his swearing in, Pluto was at the top of the sky in Aquarius at 1 degree or 0 degrees, I think, or something like that. And it was asking us, hey, is this the jackass you want to run your country? Is this what you want to represent the United States? Really? Okay. So some of us with souls, we don't want that. Let me just say this. Shawnee said, let me just say this. I've had Hollis Taylor as a coach, as an astrologer, as a medium. I watch this every week. I use Bright Hawk's music every day for meditation. And while I sleep, psychic insights and the gifts that these people have as a whole, like Mama Cole, Sarah Redcrow, Nicole is amazing, and they have literally changed my life. You know what, Shawnee? You are so welcome. I'm glad that you've gotten so much out of psychic insights. It's really important to me. Yeah, okay, Carrie. I'll take a look at it. And so what I do want to point out, so actually, I'm just going to address it for a minute. Alexa, the country was not based on Christianity. The Christians came over and killed the indigenous people. You might want to do a little history lesson. Just go check it out. Go look up DW News Indigenous People. Check out that link, and it'll help you understand where the indigenous people are coming from and how he's destroying them right now. He's pretty much telling them they don't exist. They can't speak their language. They can't leave the reservation, because if they do, he'll arrest them because they're immigrants, even though their people were here before us. Yeah, it's kind of silly. That's silly. I wouldn't give it too much energy.
Yeah, let's get on to Sunday. I want to talk about Sunday.
Because,
let's bring up the chart for Sunday. And the reason why I want to bring it up is, did I take myself off mute? Yeah, I did. The yacht is still in play. It's on Saturday and Sunday that yacht is still in play. And the other reason that I wanted to point it out is because this new moon, now we're set up for the eclipse cycle. Okay? So the next every 2 weeks we have an event with the moon, right? It's either a new moon, and 2 weeks later it's full moon, 2 weeks later it's new moon, right? So in 2 weeks, we are now in eclipse season, my friends. And eclipse season is exactly what it sounds. The luminaries are known as the South Node and the North Node. They are the things that are represented in the chart that almost look like little horseshoes. They're not actually in the sky. They are representative of the path that the moon takes. So when we experience the eclipse or the ecliptic, and a lunar eclipse happens first, and it's happening on September 7th. And so that will be the full moon, right? And then 2 weeks later, we'll have another new moon, and that will be the solar eclipse. So that's coming up on the 21st, which is also happens to be fall equinox. So this eclipse season is bracketed by Virgo. We have the new moon in Virgo. In 2 weeks, we'll have the lunar eclipse, and then another 2 weeks, we have the solar eclipse. And these impact everyone. And eclipses help us see things we didn't see before. The lunar eclipse is relative to the South Node. So the lunar eclipse is always about what has got to be let go of. You cannot move forward unless you let go of that thing. And suddenly it'll be like, oh my God, I need to stop drinking, drugging, whatever it is, whatever bad habit you have. And you know what it is. Nobody else needs to know. Just check in with yourself. What do I need to move on from? And then the solar eclipse becomes that opportunity to connect with our destiny, connect with our fate, our future. What is it that's compellingly leading us forward? And checking into where that is in your chart. So this is coming. And that's why, this becomes the season of eclipse season. And it's the beginning of the moon cycles on either side of it. So here we go.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and the other thing that you see very clearly on Sunday is that Venus opposition to Pluto that I was mentioning at the beginning of the week. So that can be a little bit on the challenging side. Things can transform for sure. There's a lot of energy on the weekend that could be, I kind of want to say take care.
Well, I think because the void moon will come out on Saturday, yeah, we have a yod going on, but like I said, I think that's going to have a lot more to do with the world at itself. So, you might need to take a little break from the politics. Just, do what I do, which is just take it in little pieces. Just keep track of what's happening. Make sure you get your news from a good source. Make sure you do your research on things. I always do my research on things. Always check into the background of things. Don't listen to obvious liars and things like that. And try to tune into real people, real talks and real discussions with real people instead of just assuming someone's opinion. And I think it this weekend, the biggest thing would be that you're probably just going to have to take a little bit of news and then let it go. Okay. And then just maybe send some prayers and, tap in, keep up to date with what's going on. And hopefully, whatever's going on there won't down on your day. That would be my advice for the weekend. And the thing is that the eclipses are coming. So if you're making some plans around September the 7th, September the 7th, or the dates are on the bottom of that chart there. On Sunday, the eclipses are coming on September 7th, and the solar eclipse is 21st. There's always a lunar eclipse and then a solar eclipse. So we'll talk more about that next week. But I just wanted to say, so Chelsea, happy birthday to your daughter. Woohoo! happy birthday to your daughter. I'm pretty sure that's on August 23rd. So I'm pretty sure that's like Saturday, Sunday. I think she'll be just fine if you're having a party or something. I think it'll be a good day, or if she's doing something. I wouldn't, I mean, there's going to be huge protests, I know, on Saturday. So I would stay away from like any cities or going downtown or anything like that. Because we're definitely, fighting for our rights right now, as you know, Chelsea. So, what I would suggest is that you just, you know, maybe do something else. Just don't go downtown. That's what I would avoid. Any sort of place where the politics could get heavy, I would avoid that. Okay, because there is a big protest this weekend. So, and your daughter should be able to celebrate her birthday. However she wants to, unless she wants to go to that protest, then you should support her, right? All right, Brianna, we all have a little bit of self-doubt. It's okay. You know what I do is you just take that self-doubt and you put it in a little box and you just kick it out. That's all. Yeah, sorry. I know, Alyssa, I changed it. Okay. So, and thank you so much, Samantha, for sending over people to book readings with me. I so appreciate your referrals. And anytime you share any of our videos or our live broadcasts or recommend people, you really help me out. It's really important. You just have no idea how much it helps. It really is a huge, huge deal. And yeah, so I appreciate that if you I appreciate that if you do that sort of thing. Gosh, Shawnee. Yeah, Shawnee, I just heard about that concentration camp today. Shawnee says she's just 2 hours. It's just 2 hours away from where she lives. It's just terrible. Just remember to stand up for your rights. Do everything you can to support the people on that and to speak your mind and speak up about what's true. Make sure you stay in connection, especially if you take a look at your chart and you notice that Neptune is retrograde. This is a very common thing that I see amongst Trump supporters. It's not everyone, but or their Neptune is like in opposition to something. But take a look at your Neptune, because Neptune will make you sort of Donald Trump's Neptune is retrograde. It tends to make you have delusions. It tends to make you see things incorrectly or not have accurate news. So just be careful of that. Just remember that. So take a look at your Neptune. Neptune kind of looks like let's see if I can show it to you in this chart here. It kind of looks, it's at the bottom there. It's with Aries. You can see the one that kind of looks like an H is Saturn. And then right next to it, it's like a three-pronged fork. It's usually like blue or blue-green or green colored because it's, Neptune is the god of the ocean, right? And so if it's retrograde or something like that, just be aware. It's okay, Alyssa. I didn't take it that way. Just be aware that Neptune sometimes will have a lot to do with your delusions, your visions, or how you see things. Okay. And I just noticed that people with Neptune retrograde or Neptune in a bad conversation, like in a opposition to something or something like that, or like Donald Trump, both, it tends to create this, it tends to create an illusion around you, and sometimes those people, I feel a little bit bad for them. They're not all Trump supporters, but sometimes I'll point that out and they'll go, is that why I always feel kind of naive and like I kind of fall for things? And I'll be like, yep. And so I help them realize that, and then if you know that, then you can change it. So that's the beauty about astrology. Okay, so I'm gonna share, I got my the horoscopes set up, so I'm going to try to share that. Let's see here.
Hey, so I'll talk while you do that.
Okay.
I love the fact that Hollis is always so amazing. This is where, again, it's all about you. How is this going to affect you this week? So Hollis is going to do the zodiac. They'll go through the whole zodiac. So listen for your sun, moon, and rising. And if you're not familiar with that, There is a job, there's a assistant aid that is on Hollis's website on divineandrogyne.com, and it helps you figure out how to get a free chart, how to figure out your sun, moon, and rising. And so when you're listening to the zodiac, you'll understand how it impacts you precisely.
I just had to unmute myself. Okay. Okay, Bright Hawk, I'm gonna put you backstage to see if it makes my picture a little bit bigger. No, it doesn't. But you know what? I'm just gonna share it just like this. And okay. So I just was curious if it would change it. Shawnee, real quick. I know, but you know how you always ask me, why did I fall for it? That's why. Okay. So now you know. Now you know why sometimes you fall for things. Okay. It's not your fault. You were meant to be this way. So you need to go slow before you believe in things. Just go slow and slowly test them. Okay. And you're learning to do that. You've been slowing down. So congratulations. It's definitely something you can overcome or change. Okay. Now, as we go into this is for the new moon. This is going to be for Friday. This is the horoscope for Aries for Friday, August 22nd. Now, the thing is that the moon and the new moon is going to be in Virgo in your 6th house. Now, this is going to have something to do with your day-to-day life, Aries. This is going to affect your day-to-day life. You could have a hard time getting going or getting things moving. But don't worry about it. It could also be your health. There could be something that's going on around your health that, could possibly come up during that time, especially because Virgo tends to rule wellness. So I would right away, Aries, especially with Saturn and Neptune on your ascendant, I would right away look at your system and how you're living your day-to-day life, what you're doing. Are you exercising every day? Are you maybe doing some yoga or meditation or something else that helps you sort of regulate and get yourself under control. That's really what's going to need to happen there, Aries. Pay attention to your diet, things like that, all those wellness and health type things, or something to do with your day-to-day life in relation maybe to your work or your job, or something like that. Okay. And so that's for Aries. That's for Aries, sun, moon, and rising. Now we're coming up. Oops. Wait a minute. Sorry about that. I messed up my timing. And now we're going to be looking at Taurus. This is for Taurus. Taurus, sun, moon, and rising. For you, this new moon, Friday, Saturday, is really going to speak to, and the sun is also going to, and that yod pointing at the sun, this is really going to speak to your kids. All right. So Taurus, this is going to have a lot to do with your kids or your creative outlets or anything that you have created yourself, something that you've done, something that you've brought up, something that is important to you. This also could have something to do with creative energy, or anything like that. It's very much about that sort of, new beginnings as far as your kids go, or as far as like understanding them. Maybe you start a new thing with your kids or some sort of offering or some sort of creation that you've had. Now, Taurus, I also would just point out that, you just had Uranus leave your sign, but it will be back. So if there was something that you were hesitating on changing, that will be changing again. But right now, you might get like a little bit of like a problem solve about an old problem, because the sun and the moon will be in a square to Uranus, which just left your sign. And it's now in Gemini, but it may give you a little bit of a download so that you recognize what you need to do about that problem that you didn't quite change yet. Because we know you resist change just a little bit there, Taurus. Okay. Now, as we move on to the horoscope for Gemini, this is for Gemini, sun, moon, and rising. Now, the moon and the sun will be in your house of home, and everything to do with your home, your house. So be paying attention to, or your family of origin. Maybe there's something you have to do with your family. Maybe there's something you're going to be doing with them. So that'll be for Gemini. Gemini, this will be for you. Okay, that'll be in the 4th house there. And I'm going to do that, Bright Hawk, because I just feel like it's the chart's too small and people can't see it, so I'll fix it later. Anyway, so this is for Gemini. Gemini, like I said, Uranus is in your is in your sign. So that means it's going to be in a square to the sun and the moon. So you might actually come up with like a problem solve about the house or about doing the house. It makes me think of my daughter-in-law trying to get her 7-year-old to clean up after himself, those kinds of things. So it makes me think about that. And, those kinds of things. You might come up with some sort of way to solve the problem, some sort of new way, new life path, some sort of problem solving could come up, especially with that Virgo energy. Virgo is really awesome in that department. It's really good for that exact thing. Okay. Now the next is for Cancer. This is for Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Rising. This is the horoscope for Cancer for Friday, Saturday, probably mostly Saturday for you, Cancer. This will have a lot to do with your community or the or communication, okay, or community. This is very much about the people that you communicate with, the people that you talk to, or the community that you're part to, including your neighbors, your siblings, anything like that, Cancer. You'll probably be noticing some sort of, awareness or problem. Maybe you'll get a download about exactly what new beginning, exactly a new way to do something or a new try, especially because they're in a square to Uranus and Gemini. And Uranus is all about, thinking of new ways of doing things or changing the way things are done in a way that helps progress the world going forward. And then next, this is the horoscope for Leo. This is for Leo, Sun, Moon, and Rising, particularly Friday and Saturday. This week, you're really going to notice something about money. You could have an awareness or a download or a new way to solve your problem. You could have some sort of download that helps you with money or values or how you feel or spend your money or how you make your money. It will definitely have something to do with that. It will be a problem solving type of energy. So you'll probably come up with some sort of solution. It could be a little bit of a problem, but it will be a problem solve, if that makes sense. So like you might have a problem, but you'll be able to solve it. You'll come up with the answer. It could have been a problem. It's been going on for a while, but now you've finally figured it out. You have an answer to the problem. Okay. And that's for Leo, Sun, Moon, and Rising. And now as we go on to Virgo, this is for Virgo. This is a horoscope for Virgo for Saturday this weekend, August 23rd. And I want to say that this is going to be all about your identity, Virgo. This is going to be very much about your identity. This is going to be about who you are, how you identify with yourself, how you see yourself. And, there could be some changes that you have around your job or your work or what you offer the world. There could be some sort of challenge in that direction that you sort of manage or find a problem solved to on Saturday. It sounds really great because I think by the time the void, of course, moon ends early Saturday morning, by the time you get into Saturday, you'll have a good answer to your problems. And I think that will be an excellent thing for you. Okay. And I think that that's a good change. I think it's going to be good changes. It's new beginnings. This is a problem solving. It's some sort of problem you're trying to solve. And I think it's an excellent idea. Okay. And then next horoscope will be for Libra. This is for Libra, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Libra, this is your horoscope for Saturday. This will very much, Libra, be about the people around you, particularly the people that have power over you, the people that will be like your friends, your landlord, anyone like that, your coworkers, there'll be some sort of problem solving that you come up. And in fact, it might have some sort of thing to do with like higher learning or the law or anything like that, Libra. You may also have a great idea, like sort of a spiritual like download or something like that, that has to do with maybe even like a psychic awareness, Libra, of exactly what needs to be done in order to resolve those people around you. Okay. All right. So that's for Libra, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Now, this is the horoscope for Scorpio. Scorpio, this is for Scorpio, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Scorpio, let me just say that this will have everything to do with your work. Okay. There's going to be something that you got to change, Scorpio. You got to shift something. Is there something that's kind of holding you back at work? Maybe it's self-doubt. Maybe it's some other thing. Maybe it's the way you're thinking about things, especially because Uranus is in Gemini, and that will have a lot to do with how you express yourself in that way. How you talk to other people, how you work with other people because of the Gemini. And Virgo is a very cooperative type of sign. And so it's going to help you come up with a problem solve by Saturday. Okay. So Saturday, I feel like you're going to get a nice problem solve idea. You'll get a great download, Scorpio. And I think this will help you a lot with your work, especially anything that has to do with, having to come up with a new way of doing things. Okay. The next horoscope is for Sagittarius. This will be for Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising. This is your horoscope for this week for Saturday, Sagittarius. This will have everything to do with higher learning, Sagittarius. Is there something, are you at school? Are you going back to school? Are you trying to take some classes? Or are you studying, are you opening your third eye? Or is there something legal that you're dealing with? What is it, Sagittarius? It has something to do with higher learning or understanding, a higher understanding of things. Maybe it's a spiritual awakening, but the moon and the sun and this new moon, it's a great time for you to tap in to higher learning or to raise your vibration a little bit. And the spirituality of it's going to be really freaking powerful. So I just want to say this could have everything to do with how you feel in that way. Okay. And now, the next horoscope is Capricorn. This is for Capricorn, Sun, Moon, and Rising. This is the horoscope for Saturday for Capricorn. Capricorn, this is going to have a lot to do with you working through some problems, some things that you really struggle with. And, you're going to have to work through that shadow of yours. And just know that you're going to have a good awareness, a good awakening, a good problem solve to what's happening in your life. You'll be able to come around to it. Just listen to the moon. Just listen to that awareness of yourself and go ahead and make that shift. The earth is speaking to you. The Virgo moon is speaking to you, a fellow earth sign, trying to let you know that it's going to be okay and to just go ahead and go forward, and it's going to give you the problem solver. Virgo is going to offer a problem solver for you. Okay. Next is Aquarius. Aquarius, this is for Saturday. This is your horoscope for Saturday, Aquarius. This will be in the house of relationships. So this has to do with your relationships. What is it about your relationships that you need to understand more deeply, or how you behave in relationships? Sometimes Aquarius is, sometimes I was listening to a talk actually about relationships and how some people tend to be so picky and so critical of partners that they end up kind of isolating themselves as a single person. So Aquarius, if you're finding yourself single or something like that, you might have a download about maybe you need to rethink things. Maybe you need to think about things a little bit differently, or there needs to be something that you need to apply about where you live or how you live in your home, or just how you function day to day, or maybe it has something to do with that you're bringing from your family of origin or something like that. Maybe you're resistant to a certain type of people because you think they're all as abusive as your dad or something like that. Okay, so Aquarius, I just want to encourage you to look for those kinds of things. Like, are you being too overly critical? I feel like that's sometimes an Aquarian thing. If you have Venus in Aquarius, or you're an Aquarius sun or rising, you tend to have this ideal mate, and you expect them to be perfectly perfect like that, and then as a result you end up being alone. So just going to say, Aquarius, this probably has a lot to do with relationships. Okay, so try not to be overly critical, Aquarius, because it's mostly just because you need time alone. So you'll find that you'll be able to be less critical if you take more time to yourself. Okay, Aquarius? Now, going forward, we're talking about Pisces. This is a horoscope for Pisces. Pisces, this is for Saturday. Okay. Pisces, this is also going to have to do with relationships for you as well. Understanding how your boundaries are actually hurting your relationships. That's probably what's going to happen, because earth signs are really good about boundaries, actually, and water signs are not. Okay. And with Uranus in the third house and Gemini, it's trying to get you to think about your boundaries a little bit differently, Pisces. And so this is about your relationships, especially with the new moon in Virgo. It's probably going to give you some sort of download, maybe about your kids, or maybe about other relationships, maybe siblings or anyone else you're in relationship with, including your spouse. Or anyone you're dating or anything like that. You're going to want to really tap into that, Pisces, because I feel like, the North Node is in Pisces right now. It's really trying to push you back. Saturn and Neptune are on their way back to your sign, Pisces. And things have been really intense for you. And you know what? You're almost done. You're almost through these major transits. And it's just that the universe is trying to speak with you so that you might change things a little bit differently and maybe find a few boundaries that you can manage to hold. I'm sure you have some other signs. Then, you're not 100% Pisces. Even if you're a Pisces sun or a Pisces rising, even if you're a double Pisces, you still have other signs. No one is all Pisces. Everybody has all the charts in them. So you just need to pull from your earth energy, and pull from that earthy energy and try to find those boundaries. Okay. I know you can do it. I know you can do it, Pisces. All right. Well, welcome back, Brighthawk. I did it. I just think the horoscopes might look slightly better when we do that.
Agreed. And you did a great job.
Thanks. I appreciate that. Okay. I just want to go over the whatchamacallits real quick. The comments.
Sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. And so, Brianna said seller homers decide to stick it out. Husband is Gemini. I don't know. I have to look at the charts again, Brianna. What's in your house of home is the fourth house. So you want to see who rules that house, who begins it. So you'll see the third house and then the fourth house. So whoever begins the fourth house, whatever zodiac is there on that line between the third and the fourth, tells you who rules that house. And then we can make a better choice. The autodidact says doing yoga while listening. Well, that's a good thing to do. Hopefully my power stays on Midwest thunderstorms. Okay, yeah, I hope so, Auto. Brianna said Aquarius rising. Ugh, no, I don't want to do that. Like, I like being a lone wolf. Okay, that's fine, Brianna. But sometimes Aquariuses really get upset that they're alone. And then I'm like, okay, well, you're kind of creating that. Autodidact said Venus in Aquarius. I lean to staying out of relationships. I'm literally tackling this with my therapist. I believe it. I believe it, Otto. If you ever need a little extra help, or you just need a little help in between your therapist things, I do astrological coaching. So it could be a great way to kind of help you through that and maybe give you some other ideas of how to push through that. Because if I look at your Venus and what conversations it's in, I might be able to help you find a decent resolution to that. Okay. That's kind of what we do. Mystic's like, I'm a Virgo rising. You got this, Mystic. It's going to be a good time. The new moon's going to be there. It's going to be like an instant download for you, Mystic. Otto said, good thing I'm surrounded by Tauruses. Yeah, it's actually really good for you. Brianna said, I do need to make some time for my husband. He is Gemini and love language is physical touch, but I'm very much okay with having all the alone time and no touching. Aw, Brianna. Okay. Alyssa said, quick question. I've heard that we should be introducing ourselves using our ascendant sign instead of our sun signs. Unless you're a Leo sun, then your sun is who you are mostly are. I think that's kind of true, Alyssa, because the thing about rising sign is that it's actually more powerful. If you're in Aries, though, the sun is exalted. So it's not just Leo, it's Aries too. So if your sun is in Aries or Leo, then it might be stronger than your rising sign. But everybody else pretty much runs on their rising sign. Most people have a stronger rising than a sun. And Alyssa said, oh, and this Pisces here has been laying boundaries like they're going out of style in like the past 36 years of my life. Mystic said, I'm talking to a male Gemini. Wow. All right. And Bright Hawk, I'm going to ask you to hold this space for just a moment.
Sure.
I don't know if I can bring up the comment, but I see a comment that says from Autodidactic, I don't know, Libra rising, Pisces, sun and moon. Oh, wait, I think I can. Oh, there we go. People see the Pisces in my eyes, LOL. Yeah, I bet they do. And you know, when if you don't know your birth time, because of course your birth time is what tells us your rising sign and all the houses. So it's really, really helpful if you have your birth time when you go to get a reading. Much, much more accurate. If you don't have your birth time, if for some reason that's just information that's not available to you, we look at how you look, you know, and then Hollis will ask a lot of questions. It's a process called rectification. And I've seen Hollis rectify many charts where in short order they figure out, this is what your rising sign is. And then everything sort of falls into place. So it's funny that you say about the people seeing the Pisces in your eyes, because that's how we rectify a chart. And you can reveal a lot. Astrology reveals an enormous amount. Mystic Road said Sun, Sag, Virgo rising, Jupiter in Libra, Venus in Scorpio, Gemini moon. I'm a Virgo rising too. Jupiter in Libra, Venus in Scorpio, Gemini moon. Okay, wow, that's great. Thank you for sharing that.
Oh, okay. Mystic obviously knows their birth time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So when your rising sign, when your rising sign, I'd say that most of us sort of, what I will say by looking at children's charts, is that a lot of times the child will play more on their sun sign. But then once they seem to go through puberty, and then once they get to their Saturn returns, which is at 30 years old, 27 to 30 years old, that 27 to 30 is kind of when you're pulling away from your sun and pushing into your rising. So I think that's kind of what happens. I think we kind of grow into it. And that's what I've noticed by doing children's charts.
Yeah.
Molly said, I'm a Pisces and my husband is Gemini. I'm having a hard time connecting with him. That
Water.
She said he sometimes gives me a cold shoulder and I don't know why. Well, Gemini does that and Pisces is super sensitive. I'd have to look at your charts a little bit deeper, but what I will say is there's major transits going in both of those signs right now and has been for like the last year and a half, Molly. Pisces has got the North Node in there, and then Gemini's got Uranus is in there, and it will be going retrograde this winter. So that's big life changes for Gemini. And Molly, I'm gonna say that your Pisces sometimes might might be looking for more emotional engagement than maybe a Gemini is capable of giving. But I'd have to look at the rest of the chart because it will also have to do with like Venus and Mars and the moon. And but I do synastry, and I even do synastry counseling. Like I counsel couples based on their astrology synastry. So.
And I'm not sure who mentioned it earlier, but someone mentioned love languages. So it's really worth taking a minute if you know you're not connecting, taking a minute and figuring out what your love language is, what's really important to you. You can look up very easily. You don't even have to get the book these days. You can look up love languages and it'll tell you what the definition of love languages are. Is your love language touch? Is your love language I need to hear beautiful words? Is your love language what's most meaningful is time? You spend time with me? Or do you need gifts to feel seen in? You know, what is your love language and what is his love language? Soon as you understand those, there's a whole lot more that happens. You're emotional with Pisces, less boundaries. Pisces don't always know how to do boundaries. Somebody just mentioned I'm a Pisces and I'm finally setting boundaries. Boundaries are not always easy for Pisces. And Gemini is a thinker. It's an air sign. And so they're approaching from thinking, you're approaching from feeling. Your languages are different. So finding those commonalities, if you took the time to get a synastry chart with Hollis, guarantee you that there would be a lot revealed. And it can take the pressure off of either one of you, where sometimes you're searching for why, and let's make it a bigger container to look at it in a bigger way. And astrology can sometimes help us get that perspective so we're not picking at each other. You know what I mean?
Okay, so I do all kinds of synastry readings. I will say that sometimes I'm going to say send the guy by himself before you expect him to do synastry, especially if he's never had an astrology reading. And then usually what happens is if I do a reading for a guy, they're like, wow, this is amazingly accurate. And then they're more likely to believe in the coaching that I'm giving you both. So just a suggestion. Yeah, Molly, Uranus is in Gemini. It's been in there for a little bit. And that's a really powerful planet in Gemini. I don't know where his sun is. I don't know where his Venus or Mars is. I can help resolve that, but it would require open minds. Okay. And Brianna said Hollis does fantastic. My husband and I, is what she meant to say, had a synastry reading. He is skeptical, but he enjoyed it. Yeah, I'm sure he's skeptical. And Brianna, what I would say is have him come to me alone. So I could look at his chart and really nail it down. Okay. Yes, Mystic. I think you said you were a Virgo rising. The eclipses are coming up. They're going to affect you. Yep. I know. I'm a Virgo too. Trust me. I'm nervous about it, Mystic. So, Bright Hawk too. The eclipses are coming in Virgo and Pisces. So, Virgo and Pisces are going to be affected the most by these upcoming eclipses. We'll talk about them next week. A synastry reading is under $100, Mystic. You can definitely go to my website and you can book with me directly there. You can find out everything you need to know at my website at divineandrogyne.com. You can book with Bright Hawk now or soon. I'm putting it up right now at Psychic Insights, but Bright Hawk also does natal chart readings. She also does personal sound healings. Now I'm going to pull 3 cards for us today for the collective, past, present, future. And first, this is about the Ace of Pentacles. This is, I'm going to pull you out for a sec. This is very much about the Ace of Pentacles. This is very much about the resources that you've had in the past, the things that were resources that were really important to you, that were really helpful. What were the resources that you had in the past that were really important, that helped support you in your journey now, especially into relation into whatever injuries or physical things or even mental health that you've been working on. This is the Nine of Wands. This has a lot to do with your intentions in the present now, in the here and now. Like, how does this make you feel? Like, how are you navigating your mental health? How are you navigating your life? And that's what this has to do. It's a lot to do with those resources you had before and where you are now. And in reflection of that, just know in the future there's going to be choices. You'll have to make a choice in the very near future, probably by the end of the week. And that'll probably be that new beginning. Hopefully you'll choose the new beginning and be open to it now that you've heard this forecast, so that you can be ready to embrace what the new moon is going to deliver to you this weekend. Now, remember those resources you've had in the past, they're very important and in relation to your support right now, especially in your mental health and things that, you know, your intentions and your mental health and things like that, and things that are setting you forward. And know going forward that you can make a choice. You're going to have to make a choice this weekend, and hopefully, I'm sure you will, choose exactly what's good for you, because that's what Virgos do.
Exactly.
Right.
Oh, that's so perfect. Well, you guys, I hope you have.
You got to unmute.
I hope you have a great new moon. I hope it is everything you need it to be. And remember what we said earlier, new moons are new beginnings. So it's a great opportunity to make wishes, set intentions. If you have a crystal grid, which you can get from me, you can always set your crystal grid on a new moon. And of course, Virgo energy is all about asking what's for the greatest good, for collaboration, creativity, nurturing, healing, whatever it is that's for your highest good. All of those beautiful things. May you have a beautiful new moon in Virgo. Thanks so much for watching. We really enjoy the conversation and the comments with you. And thanks for listening to Rainbow Soulstrology, where we try to be a bridge between you and the stars. Many thanks. Have a great week.
Thanks so much for spending time with us this week. We hope you're feeling more connected to the cosmic energies in your life and what works for you. We send you lots of love on your journey. If you enjoyed today's show, please hit that subscribe button. It really helps reach more people who could use some cosmic guidance. Hey, and don't forget to share this episode with anyone who might need or want to hear it. And we love hearing from you, so drop us a comment and let us know what resonated most for you, or if you'd like to hear something new next week. Your questions and feedback make us better. Want to join us